Welcome to that time of year again. We are here at the annual Minnesota State Fair in Falcon Heights.
Both Convention Center and Mega Mall got the big thumbs down for state financing.
And 700 Hormel picketers swarmed Minneapolis city streets. Those stories and more coming up on our special State Fair edition of the 6 p.m. report.
Introducing the Renault Est. Car buyers these days love the Est of things, the biggest, fastest. Well, now Renault announces the lowest factory financing. 8.5% on the European technology of Renault Lyons, 8.5 on Encore. That's $123 a month. 8.5, that's lower than Ford, GM, Chrysler, and the imports. And now with America's best, that's BEST, small car protection, $550 plus.
8.5% and year-end closeout prices now at your Twin Cities AMC Jeep Renault dealers.
It's the Sound Center's 10th birthday, and we're giving you something to celebrate, like a gorgeous 26-inch console or elegant tabletop Sony Trinitrons. We're $7.99 each. Take your pick at $5.99. We've got Sony Betamaxes at just $2.99. And how about Sony's best autofocus beta movie? Look, the whole recorder's inside the camera. Was $14.99, now just $9.99. Over 500 other Sony products on sale at all Twin Cities Sound Centers. Minnetonka, Richfield, and Roseville.
From the WCCO television studios at the Minnesota State Fair, this is the 6 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. We are live from the 122nd Minnesota State Fair, one of the largest expositions of its kind in North America.
Dave, the first Minnesota State Fair was held in 1859, just 1 year after Minnesota gained statehood. To start our show, we sampled opinions about this 1985 fair.
Just everything, you know, it's nice. Except for the rain, of course.
Rain.
The rain is your favorite thing?
Yeah. The water rapids.
Why?
Because you get all wet.
I just like to get out and see all the people at the fair. It's just the funnest thing.
Food. It's the only place that has food and guys all in the same place.
We'll check out some of the offerings coming up at the State Fair a little bit later.
Very gratifying to see that the rain has apparently not had one whit of influence on the attendance at the fair today.
Lots of people out here. Topping today's news was the message delivered loud and clear from legislative leaders to Minneapolis, Bloomington, and the Gramasian brothers of Canada. No direct state aid for anybody's convention center or mega mall. The governor delivered that message today, and Marcia Fleur tells us what happens next.
In today's meeting with Governor Perpich, House and Senate leaders told him that Minneapolis and Bloomington will have to go it alone if their projects need subsidies.
The provisions that deal with local option are doable. Those that deal with direct subsidies are doubtful at best.
Out. Bloomington's request for $150 million in tax rebates and a shuttle from the airport to the mega mall. Out. Minneapolis's request for a direct $160 million subsidy over the next 20 years.
I think it would be fair to say that most people would like to have the mega mall development. There is some controversy over whether that includes a convention center or doesn't, but that is by far and away a smaller controversy than how it's going to be paid for.
Governor Perpich will sit down with the mayors of Minneapolis and Bloomington and the Gramasians next week. The object? Compromise.
I think it's always useful to talk. But Minneapolis doesn't have a lot to give away.
Fraser wants Bloomington to give away its convention center. Bloomington Mayor James Lindau told researcher Jerry Miller he has yet to hear that would get Fraser's blessing for the rest of Bloomington's project.
I don't think there's a basis for compromise. So far it sounds as if there's only a reason for Bloomington to capitulate. And of course we're not going to do that.
Lindau says the Gramasians told him they are willing to sit down to negotiate next week, because in his words, they realize it isn't over till it's over. Up to now for the Gramasians, compromise has been a four-letter word. This is Marcia Fleur, WCCO Television News, the state capital.
Striking Hormel Company workers descended on downtown Minneapolis today for a mass leafletting campaign. The workers want to pressure the First Bank system, which is a major shareholder in Hormel, into influencing the contract talks. But First Bank and the meatpacking company say this tactic is not possible. But that didn't slow the strikers. Terry Sater reports.
They say give back!
We say fight back!
They say give back!
We say fight back!
They say give back!
Strike slogans bounced from skyscraper to skyways as nearly 1,000 union meatpackers shouted below. But the real targets were the ears passing by in cars and on sidewalks. Austin Union Local P9 hopes by bringing its cause downtown to the people, it can force the First Bank system into influencing Hormel in contract talks. First Bank says it holds 14% of Hormel's stock, of which the biggest chunk is controlled by Hormel employees.
Well, I think they misunderstand how business is done these days. We simply, as a professional organization, cannot professionally afford to disrupt customer relationships for reasons that are not related to business. We just can't do it.
When you talk about that kind of control in a company, you have an enormous amount of influence over decisions that are being made. And that's why First Bank system making that sort of a statement is really trying to con the public.
The striking meatpackers are looking for more than just moral support. Their paychecks have stopped. And they've been handing out these leaflets here and door to door for the past few days. Attached is an envelope and a plea for cash. But the passers-by we talked to said the strikers' demonstration will do little to change their minds. The union says eventually their efforts will pay off. Terry Sater, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
The strike at Austin is 6 days old now, but it appears to have had little, if any, effect on hog prices. Before the walkout began on Saturday, Hormel was slaughtering 6,000 hogs a day. Other plants, however, we've learned, have managed to pick up the slack. But industry analysts are concerned about the state's hog production if Hormel's closest competitor, which is Farmstead Foods Incorporated of Albert Lee, should also be closed down by a strike. The union contract there expires on September 1st. Debbie?
Dave, Minnesota's non-farm payroll shrank by 21,400 jobs in July. Most of the drop came from normal summer cutbacks in school personnel. The total number of jobs, however, is higher than last July. The State Jobs and Training Commission also said that the average weekly earnings of production workers in manufacturing declined by $1.59 between June and July. The people who work saving lives every day get a shot of their own medicine. That story is coming up.
Gabberts, you'll find your home at Gabberts. You'll find a world of wonderful things waiting for you at Gabberts.
Last night they bought their first piece of furniture at Gabberts. Tonight it's the center of their home. At Gabberts we start a lot of them because at Gabberts we have the right piece of furniture at the right price for the right home. Come, find your first home at Gabberts. In the Galleria, Edina.
7.7% financing. Only your Twin Cities Pontiac dealers could close out the 85 model year with this much excitement. 7.7% financing on hot-selling Fieros, Firebirds, Sunbirds, Pontiac 6000s, Grand Prix, Bonnevilles, Parisiennes. 7.7% financing to save you over $700 to $2,400 in interest alone. Plus, beat the 86 price increase and get year-end discounts now at Brookdale, Quality, Peterson, Hansard, Wilkins, and Arrow Pontiac.
Where does Kellogg's Apple Raisin Crisp cereal get its homemade taste?
Homemade taste?
Does Apple Raisin Crisp get its homemade taste from apples like Grandma baked?
Tastes like my recipe.
Does Apple Raisin Crisp get its homemade taste from the raisins that sweeten its taste?
I love raisins.
Do the big crisp flakes with the apples baked on bring on that crunchy taste?
Apples baked in the flakes.
Where does Apple Raisin Crisp get its delicious homemade taste?
Only from Kellogg's.
Just moments ago, we got word into our newsroom that 38-year-old John Reardon of Underwood has been indicted by a grand jury on first and second-degree murder charges and charges of sexual misconduct. This is news tape of him taken earlier. Reardon is accused in the sexual abuse and murder of his 13-year-old daughter, Sarah Ann, last May. He is being held in the Otter Tail County Jail on $100,000 bond. A White Bear Lake youth was killed today during a shooting incident in Vadnais Heights. Authorities say an 11-year-old boy was unloading a shotgun when it discharged, fatally wounding 13-year-old Sean Nelson. Authorities are still investigating the shooting, but they have not released the name of the other boy. Minneapolis Police Chief Tony Boza has ordered an investigation into possible police brutality against a 70-year-old Hmong man this afternoon. A traffic officer stopped two Hmong men who drove through a red light at Lake and Lindale. The driver resisted arrest. The passenger started grabbing at the officer's gun, and the policeman then hit the second man with his flashlight. The man is hospitalized and suffering from head trauma. Minneapolis police are searching for 3 men who escaped capture after holding a South Minneapolis family at gunpoint last night. Police say that 4 men allegedly held shotguns on a family and robbed their house at 2548 Grand Avenue South. After about 15 minutes, police surrounded the house and apprehended a 20-year-old Minneapolis man. The others got away with an undetermined amount of cash and property. Dave?
The 10-day lockup at Stillwater State Prison has ended. Administrations had called for confining the inmates to their cells to avoid panic after one prisoner was diagnosed as having a pre-AIDS. Officials used the last week and a half to educate staff and inmates about this often fatal disease. No additional cases of pre-AIDS have been detected. AIDS is not the only dangerous disease concerning medical professionals. St. Paul paramedics and ambulance crews have started getting vaccinated against hepatitis B, oftentimes fatal liver disease. St. Paul is one of only 3 cities in the country to institute such a protection of personnel on the front lines.
Just about every time a paramedic responds to an emergency, chances are he will come in contact with a victim's blood or use a needle to give intravenous fluids. This kind of contact puts ambulance crews at a greater risk for getting infectious diseases. To reduce that risk, the St. Paul Fire Department provides protective gear and clothing. And now they have started to give paramedics a series of 3 shots against hepatitis B. The shots are voluntary, but response has been almost 100%.
We are handling a lot of patients that do have hepatitis. Since we've had so many Southeast Asians, they seem to have a high incidence of hepatitis. And we're delivering a lot of their babies, and we do nick ourselves once in a while. And it's just a precaution. It doesn't hurt anything, so why not?
There's never been a confirmed case of a St. Paul paramedic getting hepatitis B while caring for a patient. But ambulance crews still feel vulnerable and see the shots as an extra insurance policy.
We don't want to look for that in 10 years from now and say, geez, we should have done something about it, so we're doing something about it now.
The vaccinations will cost the fire department $130 for each of the 120 medics who get inoculated. But officials say the money is worth it and are considering also offering the shots to the 300 remaining firefighters. The series of shots will be completed by the end of this year. But because the vaccine is relatively new, it's not known yet how long it will remain effective and whether emergency crews will need a booster shot in a few years. Caroline Lowe, WCCO Television News in St. Paul.
The Minnesota Charities Review Council is advising Minnesotans not to donate money to 5 cancer charities. The council says that the charities in question actually use little of their money for cancer research. The groups are the National Foundation for Cancer Research of Bethesda, Maryland, the American Institute for Cancer Research of Falls Church, Virginia, the AMC Cancer Research Center of Lakewood, Colorado, the United Cancer Council of Carmel, Indiana, and the American Cancer Research Fund of Washington, D.C. The council issued a warning about the 5 groups after receiving an unprecedented number of citizens' calls about cancer charities. A new found cure for baldness is selling like hotcakes, and so is its manufacturer's stock. Minoxidil, made by Upjohn, is commonly prescribed for hypertension. In fact, the FDA has not approved its use as a baldness cure. But Dr. Ted Busselmeyer of Coon Rapids claims that he has treated 2,300 patients with an 80% success rate of hair growth. The FDA is urging the public not to use minoxidil for anything but high blood pressure until the side effects are known.
In a moment, a look at why the Minnesota State Fair ranks among the nation's best.
If you've been gambling that new car financing rates would go down, you just rolled a lucky 7. 7.7% GMAC financing at your better Buick dealer. Get 7.7 on our bestseller, Buick Century. 7.7 on the solidly built Buick Regal. 7.7 on the front-wheel drive Buick Electra and Electra Park Avenue. Save even more with model year closeout prices. 7.7% financing, now for a limited time at these 6 Twin Cities better Buick dealers.
A lot of accident claims never get a fair hearing because many people think you have to be rich to have a lawyer. But it can cost you plenty to settle your own claim, and you don't have to. At Hyatt Legal Services, we took the fear out of legal fees. Before you sign something you don't understand, come in and talk to one of our lawyers. We'll help you fight for what you're entitled to. I'm Joel Hyatt, and you have my word on it. We took the fear out of legal fees across the country and in your neighborhood.
Update your bath for less during Menards Anniversary Sale. From shower stalls to water-saving toilets, everything you need is on sale now. Add a touch of genuine oak with medicine cabinets, toilet toppers, vanities, and bath accessories, all on sale. Shower doors are on sale too, like this elegant tempered glass door with self-draining track and ball-bearing rollers on sale now for just $39.88. Choose the best for your bath and save during Menards Anniversary Sale.
Save big money at Menards.
The car carriers are rolling, and so are the savings. Your Nissan Datsun dealers are bulging with the largest selection of low-priced cars and trucks in history. Economical Sentras, Stanzas, Maximas, 200SXs, 300ZXs, and 8.8% financing on every truck. With big inventories, we've got to make up for lost time. So we're in the dealin' mood. Don't wait. Get down here. We can save you money. See one of these Minnesota Nissan Datsun dealers early tomorrow.
This is Minnesota's 122nd edition of our state fair, and it runs from now until Labor Day, which is September 2nd, I think. Is it not?
Last year, a record 1.4 million people were drawn here to the fair. Officials say that they would like to come close to that number again this year. I wandered around the fairgrounds earlier today to see how it was shaping up.
The Minnesota State Fair this year is an interesting study in contrast. The rides, for example, range from the newest attraction, the Whitewater Raft Ride, to the more sedate Ye Old Mill, a tunnel of love which has been around since 1913.
Who turned the lights out?
As with any state fair, there are animals everywhere. Horse shows in the Coliseum, the DNR building with its display of Minnesota wildlife,
Didn't hear?
and the traveling Minnesota Zoo show. Television and radio personalities put on quite a show of their own.
You know, they always say when they're at the fair, they say, you two guys in there, you look like animals in a zoo.
In recent years, the shows at the grandstand have been growing in popularity. This year, some are already sold out. Free entertainment, however, abounds everywhere at the fair. Meet John Hine. Not far away, souvenir barkers provide another form of entertainment. This year, 1,100 merchants have goods to sell, haircuts, exercise equipment, pianos, and yes, all that food.
Oh, the food is good.
Chocolate-covered strawberries, mud pies, honey ice cream, mini donuts, Italian food, Korean food, cheese curds, cream puffs, and even hot dogs.
Iowa began its first state lottery at noon today. Stores are selling $1 tickets for prizes ranging up to $5,000. Iowa hopes to raise $50 million for general economic assistance. Iowa is the 19th state in the country to institute the games. Officials there are not sure if traditionally conservative residents will be willing bettors. Dave?
Next month, the Federal Appeals Court will determine whether a Minnesota law to restrict corporate takeovers is constitutional. The court will hear a case dealing with the attempt to buy up Van Dusen Air, which is an aviation services firm based in Bloomington. A group of out-of-state investors says the Minnesota law violates their right to buy stock from others. Federal Judge James Rosenbaum ruled last week that the state law is unconstitutional, but on a 2-to-1 vote, appeal judges this afternoon stayed Judge Rosenbaum's order until they can hear the case on the 5th of September. Debbie?
Federal Judge Miles Lord said today that he will quit the bench on September 11th to establish his own law firm to help the poor and the elderly. Lord said that he is glad to leave the bench now because he will be able to comment on the judicial system. Fairgoers got an ample dose of rain. Dr. Walt Lyons is up next with a complete weather forecast.
SOS, shocks on sale. Repeat, shocks on sale. New factory fresh IBM PC Junior computers, originally priced at $995, now below dealer cost $347. All here now 20 to 80% off. Repeat, hundreds of TVs, VCRs, home stereos, car stereos, and computers marked down to generate cash. SOS, shocks on sale. Suggest you take immediate action.
It's incredible. Your Cadillac dealer announces the lowest finance rate ever offered by GMAC. 7.7% financing on Cadillac DeVilles, Fleetwoods, and Cimarrons saves you thousands of dollars. Luxury, performance. And now, 7.7% financing. See your Twin Cities Cadillac dealer today. His interest will never be greater, but yours will.
Well, the question on everyone's lips out there, can you see it, Walt? Is it gonna rain?
Does this man have an umbrella? No! It's not going to rain for at least a little while. Let's start with the bad news, though, in the weather. Let's take a look at the warnings around the state. And turns out there is no bad news. How about that? We expected that we might have some fairly heavy weather moving into the state this afternoon, but we got lucky. There is no warnings, no watches even in effect. Across the color radar map, we do see some pretty heavy thunder showers moving towards, well, across and east of Mille Lacs and a few sprinkles west of Redwood Falls, but at least within the 100-mile range of the state fair, it, as of the moment, is dry. What's going on? Well, there's a warm front and a cold front. Those are usually combinations which mix things up pretty heavily. But the thunderstorms have already moved to our east and to our south. We will get more showers, but I think the fair will have pretty well wound down for the day before they arrive. Slight risk of severe weather still out to our west. The only severe weather watch in effect, though, is in portions of Kansas and Missouri. That's pretty far south of here, obviously. So as we said, the next few hours, things are good. But watch last night. Here's thunderstorms which started in North Dakota last night. 70-mile-an-hour winds around Bismarck. Some roads washed out around Minot. Then they just came roaring south. Just moved through the Twin Cities area, and for the most part, they missed the Twin Cities. Here's the metro area right there, Lake Minnetonka, and quite a bit of lightning struck the ground, billions and billions of volts in those bolts, and just went south into portions of southern Minnesota and Iowa. But there's still more rain on the way. We're not in a dry period anymore. Through late Friday and early Saturday, much of Minnesota, including the metro area, get 1, even 2 inches of rain as several more waves of rain showers come through tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday. Wet period. Temperatures range from 60, not too warm in the north, to 80. That's kind of warm down around Omaha. We'd be a lot warmer here today, except that the clouds are just going to hang in. It is at the moment cloudy. 68 is the temperature, dew point 62 degrees, 81% humidity. The winds are south at 8 and the barometer is steady at 30.02. It made it up to 70. They gave it a good college stride today. Still 10 short of normal, though. 61 was the low last night, a little bit above normal. At the airport, only 1/100th of an inch of rain fell. Many areas to the south and west had considerably greater rainfall amounts. And cool is still the rule over much of the country. 47, a record low to the east in Beckley, West Virginia. 35 up in Jackson, Wyoming. And we would be sort of in the warm belt bulge in the middle, except for the cloud cover. So we're going for more wet and not too much wild and not too much warmth in the next several days. By tomorrow, our cold front will be through, but unfortunately, in back of it will just be some more clouds and scattered showers. For tonight, though, mostly cloudy, some thunder showers developing real late. You'll have to be around there till around 5 in the morning before that runs into problems. Then tomorrow, mostly cloudy, periods of showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures up around 70 degrees again, about the same as today with brisk southeast winds. Then for Friday night, mostly cloudy showers, the low 58. And then for Saturday, mostly cloudy with some more scattered thunderstorms. So that 4 times, didn't you, that forecast? I'll throw in a 5th time. Here's Sunday, some showers around, high in the upper 60s. And finally, by Monday or Tuesday, I think we can cancel the mildew alert as the sun might come back out and temperatures go up a little bit.
So that lady out there in the red coat with the matching red umbrella can put her umbrella away for now.
Right, but if she stood there for 5 days, she'll get rained on 6 times.
Okay.
That's the forecast.
Was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow at Canterbury Downs today. Tom Hanneman will tell us about it in just a moment.
Dandy, light and lively six-pack. Snack it, smack it, back it, pack it, chuck one in your jacket.
Yogurt lovers, you'll love the money-saving 6-pack of light and lively low-fat yogurt. So smooth, creamy, fruity, and delicious.
So stock a sack, yeah. Get the knack of the handy-dandy, light and lively six-pack.
Announcing the grand opening of 6 new Donaldson stores. And that means more power to you.
More power to you, more power to you. We got the power. Donaldson's, Donaldson's. Power, power, Donaldson's, Donaldson's.
The strike is over and thousands of 1985 Ford cars and trucks are on their way. To move them out, Ford has put together the best sale plan in town. 7.7 annual percentage rate financing on all 85 Ford cars, vans, and F-Series trucks. For cash buyers, factory cash rebates of up to $1,000. For lease customers, special Ford red carpet lease rates. Nobody's got more going for them than Ford, but the best buys are going fast. See your participating Twin Cities Northland Ford dealer today.
On the next edition of Our Magazine, Television Classics salutes the Waltons.
Everyone was always so afraid that the show was going to stop being good.
Plus, Jane Fonda's back with advice on how to stay young. The Pets of the Stars with Deborah Adair. And Shaping Up on the next edition of Our Magazine.
Good night, John boy.
Good night, Mariana. Good night, Mama.
Friday morning at 9 on WCCO Television.
I'm Pat Sajak. Stay tuned for Wheel of Fortune. Find out why it's America's favorite game show. Next, here on Channel 4.
If not bountiful development at Canterbury Downs today.
Pick Six pool, a record $102,000 right now at Canterbury. And people were wondering if horse racing would catch on in Minnesota. In the last week, they've had record attendance for weekday and weekend and a record total handle twice. So I guess we could say it has caught on. Canterbury Downs this week, crowds have been excellent this afternoon despite the rains. Over 10,000 people on hand right now. One reason for that is the fact that the Pick Six pool, as we mentioned, is a whopping $102,000, thanks in part to a record carryover of 38 grand yesterday. There could be one very happy handicapper tonight. As for those in attendance that got a chance to witness today's race, they've really got a chance to see what the mudders could do. In the first race, number 3, Sunday's Avenger was the winner. In the second race, Tomoko proved the superior mudder. That pair combined for $30.40. This tape of the first race in which Sunday's Avenger was the winner. Daily double payoff, $30.40 this afternoon at Canterbury. Maybe the Pick Six betting will be a bit more lucrative. Sounds like it. Well, the East Tonka Little Leaguers won't come home from the World Series empty-handed. They defeated the Al Khobar All-Stars of Saudi Arabia 4-2 this afternoon in the consolation round. So the Minnesotans are still alive in the running for some hardware at the Williamsport, Pennsylvania tournament. Pitcher Jim Brower held Saudi Arabia to 5 hits and struck out 7. In doing so, East Tonka eliminated Saudi Arabia from the Little League World Series. Tonka was knocked out of the championship round play yesterday. Pat Siemens and Brad Kieran knocked in a pair of runs apiece for East Tonka, who will face Venezuela tomorrow at noon. Well, these are the dog days of summer for the Minnesota Twins, who currently sit 15 games behind the California Angels, who lead the Western Division. After dropping 3 straight to the Brewers in Milwaukee yesterday, the Twins have the day off. They'll open a 3-game set with the Red Sox in Boston tomorrow. Wild one last night in Anaheim. Watch this great rolling stop and throw by Bobby Meacham of the Yankees. A great defensive effort by that shortstop. However, the Yankees aren't always so sharp. Juan Beniquez singled to right in the bottom of the 9th inning. Dave Winfield's throw to third base to get Rod Carew hit Carew and bounded away. Well, Rodney cruised in to score then. Catcher Butch Weiniger followed, trying to throw out Beniquez at third. No one was there. Beniquez scored then. This looks like the Twins the other afternoon. And the game was tied at 10. New York got the last laugh in the 10th. Jack Howell's bad throw allowed Don Baylor to score the go-ahead run in the 13-10 Yankee victory. Yankees have now won 14 of their last 15 games. Ray Boom Boom Mancini says his boxing career is now over. At a news conference in New York today, Mancini said he's retiring because there's nothing left for him to accomplish in the ring. Mancini, who held the WBA lightweight title from 1982 to 84, was offered $3 million last week to fight Aaron Pryor. Mancini declined the offer, saying that what would it prove? Ray Mancini failed to retain his title against Livingston Bramble last February. Boom Boom would not completely eliminate the possibility of fighting again, but doesn't think it's likely. Mancini, Dave, plans to start an acting career now, but he told reporters, don't worry, I won't be doing any Shakespeare.
A lot of acting jobs open.
Sure.
Well, I think 92% of Actors Equity in New York is unemployed. That's it for tonight's 6 p.m. report.
We hope you'll join us again tonight at 10. Have a good evening.
Here's great news from Levitt's. For a limited time only, now through Monday, everything is on sale at Levitt's. Plus, Levitt's will deduct an amount equal to the interest charges for 1 full year on everything you buy.
You heard of the character you'll meet this fall. He's the Equalizer, premiering Wednesday, September